This episode of Domspod is brought to you by Double Eagle Insurance Agency for all your insurance needs.
Yeah, rolling up and hit this Growing up and hit this magic. With the gang, we ball out, it can get tragic. All we got, we gon' let you niggas have it. Stuck in my ways, think I need to change my habits. What would you do if you were me and didn't have shit? Look in the mirror, now I'm feeling like a savage. Tell my son I love him, for him I'ma make it happen. Now my dream's reality, not going back to trapping. You say
Welcome to this episode of Domspod. I'm your host, Dom, and I'm on alongside no one. Again, it's a Wednesday. It's a Tuesday night, I should say, because I'm missing school on Friday. We go to the Bahamas, which should be nice. But I'm by myself today because I couldn't get anybody to do it, and I kind of felt like doing one on my own. So let's get into some sports round news. I'm just going to do this off the top of my head. This could be a long episode probably. So first of all, we have some news record. I'm going to show you guys a video because I was actually at this game. Alex Ovechkin has broken Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. Yes, folks, I was at the game, and I had it on video. Might have saw it on social media at all, but I'll play the video right now. It was pretty damn loud of a stadium. So that was obviously craziest hockey game I've ever been in my life. Crazy experience and the craziest atmosphere. All the Capital fans left after Ovechkin scored. All of them. They were there for one thing, and then they were like, we have the playoffs locked. There's no need for us to be here. We have a long drive to DC. We're out. So here is where I am going to drop a hot take. Just get my phone up. Alex Ovechkin is not a top 10 hockey player in history. I can name top 10 more players. Gretzky, Gordie Howe. I think Bobby Orr was better. One of the best defensemen in NHL history. Mario Lemieux, if he never got hurt, he could have been Gretzky's style. Jaromir Jagr is at 6. I wouldn't say Messier. I would say Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby was a better player than Alex Ovechkin. If you take away, I think Crosby, the reason why I think he is a better player than Alex Ovechkin all time, obviously he's got more rings than him. He's got 10 times more points than him. But obviously Ovechkin has him in goals. I would give him that. But Crosby is, if you look at he's at 612 goals right now. So 2 more years, he's at 700. 2 more years, he will be not much farther, I feel like, away from Alexander Ovechkin as you think. But I don't think he's going to break the record. Obviously not. But he'll definitely reach 700. 700 goals, I think. Definitely. For sure. But I think Crosby was a better player than Alex Ovechkin all time. That's my opinion. You can say whatever you want. By the end of the time, listen, right now, Ovechkin's obviously better than McDavid. But by the time McDavid retires, he'll be probably really close to Gretzky. Connor McDavid will, based on his playing style, the amount of assists that he gets, the amount of points he gets, he's got like 100 points every year including the year where we had like less 62 games. Well, the one year he was 97, but he is still one of the best hockey players. I think Gretzky will be, but McDavid's going to be up there in a couple of years. But I'm not putting him in the top 10 right now. But who else? I had a couple in mind. I think Mike Bossy, if he never got hurt, Mike Bossy, greatest goal scorer ever. If you looked at his goals per game, it was insane. He had like average like 2 goals per game. But if his career never got cut short, he had 8 seasons where he had 500 goals. Greatest, I think. Listen, I can't say that he's better than Ovechkin. No. But I'm saying that obviously you can't put him up there. But if he were to stay healthy, Mike Bossy, and never had as bad as a back that he had, he would be the greatest goal scorer ever, and it wouldn't even be close. He would have over 1,000 goals. Easily. If you looked at him, he had like 594 goals in 8 seasons. That is like insane. He wasn't an assist player. He was kind of like Ovechkin. He was a player like Ovechkin. But if you took away, if Mike Bossy never got hurt, he would be at over 1,000 goals by now. I have his bobblehead over there, but that is 1,000% true. Is the Islanders score? Yeah. 3-2. Simon Holmstrom again. Ooh, he's having a good game. But looking at Alex Ovechkin, I'm just trying to fix my hair. My hair looks like a mess. But trying to look at Ovechkin, listen, he's unbelievable hockey player. But I don't think he's a top 10 player of all time. And will be. Listen, he has the goals. Crosby thinks better, so that's 7. I can't put Bossy up there. I just can't. I'll get so much hate and bias. I'm trying to think. Steve Yzerman, yes. Listen, he has him in goals. He has him in points. I'm actually going to look up Steve Yzerman's stats. One of the best, I think he's underrated. Steve Yzerman in stats. I actually am going to, I would say that he had a better career. Listen, Ovechkin's the greatest goal scorer to ever live. I agree. But do I think, Steve Yzerman had 10 times more points than Ovechkin does right now. Let's see Ovechkin. Let me just change. But, so, Steve Yzerman has over 1,700 points. Now let's see Alex Ovechkin. Obviously broke the record. He's not even 100 points. And he's played 10 times more seasons. Steve Yzerman, and here's another stat I'll tell you. I was at the game where he passed Lemieux and Yzerman too, actually. That was against the Islanders as well. If you look at, I just think Steve Yzerman's stats are 10 times better. Besides the goals, yes, I would say so. Steve Yzerman was better than Alex Ovechkin all time. You can disagree. I'm saying that you're allowed to. But Steve Yzerman was a better hockey player than Alex Ovechkin. I'm trying to think. There's like a couple that come into my mind. I don't think Mark Messier is up there. I would like to throw a goal. I can't throw a goalie. Marty Brodeur, unbelievable goalie. Ryan Trottier is up there. Dennis Pottman's a good defenseman. Trying to think. Oh, Maurice Richard. If you ever look at his stats, ladies and gentlemen, there's a goal scoring thing named after him. Ovechkin's has it like at least 8 times, I think. But he's a what's MVP? I think I'm trying to think. I forget. But what I was going to say about what's his name? I'm trying to think of his name. I forgot it in my head. Who did I just say now? I swear I just said somebody. Like, do you ever like get that in your head? But I was going to say, I'm trying to think. Marty Bedore. Oh, Maurice Richard. Maurice Richard, ladies and gentlemen, best goal scorer of his timeline. He had an insane amount of goals that he would score. And he was a playmaker too. He could get assists, he could get anything. Maurice Richard was better than Alex Ovechkin, but he played shorter, obviously, and there was less games. But I think he is definitely better. I think he's better than Alex Ovechkin, to be honest. That's what I think. Can disagree. And then there's one more. There's one more in my head that I just can't say. I can't really say it, but I would put Ovechkin probably a 10. I would say so. I'll just tell you, I named 9 players better than him, but I can't name 10. But I definitely say those 9 players ahead of him are definitely correct. Mike Bossy would probably be around there, but I know you guys are going to call me crazy for this, but Alex Ovechkin, I think he's the most overrated player in NHL history. I think he is. The most underrated is Steve Yzerman or Pavel Datsyuk. But I think there you can name easily 9 more players than him. Just saying. What else happened this week? We're gonna change some topics here. The Mets. What a freaking start. 6-game winning streak right now. Best bullpen ERA. So their bullpen ERA, but obviously they played the Marlins a bunch of times. I'm just saying, but their ERA is at 1.72, one of the best in the MLB. The Dodgers have a 2.63. That's their entire team's bull average right now. Mets don't have the only guy I think that's really not looking good right now for the bullpen. I can name a couple hitters for the Mets. Danny Young is not great. I think that they could put Nunez over him, but I love what Steve Cohen did in bringing David Stearns. Best GM, one of the best GMs and smartest. Definitely one of the smartest. He can listen. He knows what the guys to bring in and how to. Brings in I think he bought in Reed Garrett. He bought in Reed Garrett, who by far had one of the best years of last year, and now he's probably going to have an even better year. Trades Ryan Stanek for a prospect that was never going to make the majors. Ryan Stanek hasn't even allowed to run yet. Clay Holmes, a guy that the blew a bunch of saves, turns into a starter, and he's lights out. Lights out in spring training. Didn't even have a 1 ERA. He had less than 1, and he had a rough couple of games, but it's only his first 2 starts. What else? He brought back Manaea. Great move, by the way, in signing him last offseason. Severino was a good move, too. And then, who else did he bring in? Brought in a couple other bullpen arms. Danny Young. I'm trying to think. Who else did he bring? That guy, Max Katchnick, that they got. Katnick. He wanted great move in calling him up, obviously. He hasn't allowed a single run yet in his first 3. Lifelong Mets fan, by the way. Shout out to him. And then Edwin Diaz has been great, obviously, too. Who else? I'm trying to think. I can't really think of bullpen names. Drew Smith is he's still hurt right now. I love him. It's one of my favorite bullpens. They got rid of every bad pitcher. Look, the only guy that I feel like they should have brought back was Brooks Raley, but he's probably not going to pitch again, I don't think. I don't think Brooks Raley's going to ever pitch after his injury last year, to be honest. That's what I think I've seen. But overall, what the Mets have done this year, I think it's been great. And Brian Soto, Alonso's been unbelievable. He's batting .318 right now with 3 home runs, 15 RBIs. Brett Beatty and Jose Siri, not great at hitting. Listen, I still believe I'm still one of those people that still believe in Brett Beatty. I am still one of those people that believe in Brett Beatty. The reason why is I feel like he's put under pressure this year. And I feel like it's bad weather and you can't judge a guy off of that. So I think you got to give him at least 3 more weeks or something to turn around. But that would really, like, after 3 weeks, like, after he turns around, like, give him 3 weeks. If you can't figure it out, send him to Syracuse, let him figure it out there, and then call him back up. Don't DFA him. Do not DFA him. I'm warning. Do not DFA that guy. He can hit. Don't worry. I still believe in him. He's just not playing very well right now. I'll be completely honest. He can hit and he can play. I'm not worried about it. Mets prospects, by the way, are gonna be some of them you gotta trade away. I think a guy named Ryan Clifford, the first baseman. Listen, he's a great ball player. I watched his stats, but in his highlights and stuff. But Alonso's gonna be there, and if Vientos will probably be the backup. I feel like I want this guy on our team so bad. But if Alonso doesn't play well, Alonso gets hurt, you call this guy right up to the big leagues. Acuna is not hitting good right now. I'm not surprised by that. When Jeff McNeil comes back, I don't know who's going to be the one called up, sent down, but I think it's going to be Brett Beatty. Acuna's defense has been good. How's his offense been? Not good. So second base is a big hole right now for the Mets. Who else? What else? Jose Siri's not. He's a great base runner. Great base runner. That's God. Jose Siri gets a bunch of bases, but he stinks at the plate. He stinks and sucks. I should say sucks. Good fielder, but can do. He's basically like Harrison Bader last year. Can't hit. He can field, and he can steal. That's literally Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader could steal bases, folks, and he's actually killing it this year. As Nashville tied the game, of course, the Islanders can't get anything going. Who did I just say? I'm trying to think who I just said. Mets have a big hole in second base, I should say. What else? What did I just say? I keep forgetting. Like I'm having like short-term memory today. I don't know why, but I think. Listen, the Islanders got to figure this out. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, to be honest, but they got to figure something out in order to make them. But they got to go on. Like they got to win every game. I don't think they're going to do it, but I would love to see them in the playoffs and waste my money to get them knocked out by Carolina or Washington. Back to that's new. I would say about Harrison Bader. Yes, that was who I was thinking of. Harrison Bader. I love the dude. One of my favorite baseball players before he was a Met. He's batting .296 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs right now. I told you, they should have never let him go. I don't think they should have ever let him go. And I feel like he just had an off year hitting. And right now he's been unbelievable. I feel like Jose Siri was a good move, but I don't think the hitting. But right now it looks like Harrison Bader has figured out his hitting and looks like a much better ball player. So good for him, man. I like to see him be as good as he is. I love him more than he's probably one of my favorite baseball players before he was a Met. And I fell in love with him, and I was so happy when he was a Met, but man, that they couldn't bring him back. So what else happened in sports? The Nuggets fired their head coach today. I'm not sure. It's like Malik. I'm not a big basketball guy, but I'm just telling you that now that the Nuggets fired their head coach, which I think is stupid. They're in playoff contention. I don't understand it. And then let's talk about. Oh, we have to talk about this. Florida and Houston, their game. Houston, listen, I knew Florida was coming back in that game, but I did not expect Houston to not even get a shot off at the end. That might have been the worst play draw up ever. They didn't even get a shot off. Like, I don't understand why you don't dribble it up, take your time, and then you pass it to one of your guys. Look for a three. If you hit it, you hit it. If you don't, you get a rebound from your big man, pass it back out, shot, and probably goes in. But I do not understand why Houston drew up the play. 3 guys were cramped together, first of all, and then one guy double dribbles, not letting him touch the ball. So it let the clock run out to about like a second left, and then that was it. Terrible. Terrible for Houston, people who picked Houston, and for people who lost money on them, and for Houston fans, and who go to that college. Florida, on the other hand, I mean, kudos to them. Their third ever national championship won, and a big comeback. They were down by 12 at one point. They didn't lead until about a minute left. They only led for about 8 seconds the entire game. So, obviously, the Final Four wasn't that exciting. Duke got out, which shocked me. They went they couldn't get a bucket for like 5 minutes. Houston defense played unbelievable that game. And Cooper Flag, I would like to see him back next year, obviously, but I do not think he will be. I think he's going to the NBA draft. He's like, I'm out of here after that. It's his only chance at a national title. But what else? Anything else that really happened in sports? I'm not sure, really. The NHL playoffs are heating up. A bunch of teams have been eliminated already. The Bruins missing out on the playoffs for the first time since 2016. 2016, the last time. I'm going to tell you what was the last time in 2016. LeBron and Steph Curry faced in the finals. Fortnite just came out. It wasn't the year. The Penguins won the Stanley Cup that year. Over San Jose. Jeez. I was 6. I was 6 years old during this time. And David Pastrnak was on the team for 1 full year. 1 full year in the minors. I think he was in the minors. Czech Republic or something like that. Patrice Bergeron was still on the team. Brad Marchand was still on the team. Zdeno Chara was still on the team. Tuukka Rask was still on the team. It's crazy to think about that. And that 2022 Bruins team was such a letdown. That was such a fun team that I watched, breaking that record and stuff. But they collapsed in the playoffs. I don't understand how. But I think the playoffs got ahead of them, and Lucas Ullmark, who I thought was one of the best goalies in the NHL, played awful in Game 6, which let Swayman get in. Swayman played great, but I feel like his defense didn't help him out that much as the Islanders scored again. Good job. Sipakov, finally. He sucks. So the Bruins, they ended up missing the playoffs following a 10-game winning streak. Now, here's a stat I want to say to everybody out there. The last time the Leafs, the Bruins and Red Wings missed the playoffs in the same season, 1967. And you know who won the Stanley Cup that year? The Toronto Maple Leafs. So basically, back in 1967, a loaf of bread was $1. $1. Now it's like $9 and stuff. A loaf of bread was $1. $1. Penny. What else? What else was really popular in the 60s? I'm trying to think of blinking. MLS wasn't around yet. Mets were in their 5th year of being founded. 2 years from winning the World Series in 1967, the Miracle Mets. And I think that's about it. That's about it. What I can think of. Prices were a lot cheaper then, And you didn't even have a phone. You had like that, like you didn't even have a phone. You had like that one thing that you had to put in your ear and you had to like twist it. That was in the 1960s. That was in 1967. But pretty weird for me to say that this is a theory that Toronto's going to win the Stanley Cup. They haven't won the division since 2000, 25 years exactly on that. But actually, the last playoffs before they went on that 19-year drought, the last playoff series win was in 2004 when they beat Ottawa. I was thinking the year before when they beat the Islanders in 2001. That was the year where Sean Bates on that penalty shot went boom. Sad year for it to be an Islander fan. That was the only year that they actually had a chance to make a run that year. They didn't make the playoffs. The Islanders didn't make the playoffs until 2007. Go 2006. What was the year that Wayne Dumoulin did the lightsaber thing? Like poke-checked. It was my dad tells me stories about this. Craziest game he's ever watched. Oh my god, the Islanders just dude. We're about to lose to the Predators. But Wayne Dumoulin. It's actually the 18th anniversary today. Zach Parise was still at the Devils. It was Richard Park that had 2 goals. He had one in the first, then one late in the third, and then New Jersey came 10 seconds later and got. I don't remember the guy who scored that, but then they allow a goal up with less than a second left. The game goes to a shootout. Yashing scored on it. 2 goals for the Islanders. Listen, and then Wayne Dumoulin went the lightsaber and then became a Dark Knight. But if you ask me and they lost to Buffalo, that's actually crazy. I feel like that Buffalo. Dude, I feel so bad. No, I feel so bad for Buffalo fans. Like, generally. They haven't seen a good team since 2012. I was 2 years old, and I'm about to turn 15 in 3 months. That's insane. Insane to me that Buffalo has not been able to make the playoffs. The Islanders make the playoffs a lot, but it feels like before I started like really paying attention into like hockey and stuff, the Islanders barely made the playoffs. They made it in 2015, 2016, 2013, and that was about it for. They missed in 2014. They missed it in 2012. Missed in 2011. And they didn't make the play. They went to rebuild 20. Like that team was so like I feel like that team like fell up. Like somehow, like they could have one magical year of making the playoffs and then fall flat on their face. Like it's insane to me that I have to be a New York Islander fan and watch this team suffer. It's been 43 years, man. 1983, I meant. 1983, what was it? 42, so, 43 years, 41 years since the last time the Islanders won the Stanley Cup. The only 2 teams that are ahead of them for the longest droughts are obviously the Leafs they're actually 20 more years. They were like 18 or something like around that range. And then the Flyers won in 75. They beat the Islanders that year. No, they beat the Islanders in 74. And then that was the year where JP Parise tipped that goal in and celebrated like he won the Stanley Cup, even though it was the first round and they knocked off the Rangers. I hate the Rangers more than any team in professional sport. And the Yankee fans. I don't like Yankee fans either. But I was about to say, like, it was, like, as an Islander fan, like, as a diehard Islander fan, having to be, like, this loyal to a team is so hard watching. With Lou Lamoriello, everything around this team, and their history, it's probably the toughest organization, besides the Leafs and Flyers. Flyers haven't had success in a while. This is the last team to have success in the Islanders' last team to really have success was about 2021, or the year that they beat Tampa. They played Tampa in the Eastern Conference round, but they fell flat on their head in Game 7, where Yanni Gourde scored that shorthanded goal. That should have been, by the way, that should have been off. That should have been too many men. There were like 7 guys on the ice there, and that was clear. Obviously, the Anthony Barvilli goal still gives me chills to this day, but that was the last. 2021 was the last year the Islanders were a competitive team. And it's crazy to think about that. They haven't had success for 4 years. They've gotten first round. Listen, 2022 was such a big letdown team. They signed Zach Parise. They got Char. Char, I think the COVID killed that team. COVID killed that team. With all the pandemic stuff and stuff like that. COVID killed that team from reaching its glory. A lot of people had them winning the Stanley Cup that year. A lot of insiders had that. And at first I was happy about it. And then I watched this team play. They had their entire AHL team called up at one point because so many guys had COVID. One guy played every game, and that was Zach Parise. It's crazy to think about that. It was just weird. It was just a weird year. 2023 was kind of a fun team, but like that team could have beat Carolina. That was the only year that the Islanders really had a shot. Last year they didn't have a shot. They could have, but they blew too many leads, my friend, if they wanted to make the playoffs. And Lou Lamoriello didn't spend his money that year. But this year is just same thing. I'm just tired of it. See, I'm yawning. Lou Lamoriello, wake up. Like, you have to fix this team, man. Like, I mean, actually, you know what? Let me talk about how I would fix this New York Islander team. Here, I actually video this so I can show to all my friends. Sorry, guys. Here's how I would fix the New York Islanders. First of all, buy out of Pierre Engvall and Scott Mayfield's contracts. Please do. Please do. I hate them. Hate them. I love Scott Mayfield, but they need a free of cap space. Engvall's been playing great for the last couple of months, but it's time to let him go. If Brock Nelson does become available, they could sign him back. I would love him to be back, but if he doesn't, I'm totally fine with it. You get Barzell, you get a healthy team back. You bring back Riley on a 1-year deal again. Bring back Romanov, you re-sign Dobson, and you re-sign Kyle Palmieri. Now, looking at this free agent list, the Islanders should absolutely be a contender for Brock Besser or Mitch Marner. After seeing their goal scoring, and they should let go of Sipakov. Terrible. They should trade him. Here's the trade I would do to propose to Seattle. I would trade Maximilian Sipakov for a 2nd-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, and a 6th for Jordan Eberle and a 5th-round pick. Fix up the goal scoring, and it brings back a guy that everybody on the team loves. He would absolutely waive this no-trade clause. Oh, by the way, trade Hudson Fasching. Any team can be available or release him. I don't care. Matt Martin, cut him. Kyle McLean. Here's your 4th line. Kyle McLean, Casey Cizikas, Mark Gatko. That's your 4th line. That is exactly the 4th line that I think they should have. Next line should be Pajot, Kyle Palmieri, and who did they... What should I say? Should be Kyle Palmieri, J.G. Pajot, and Anthony Duclair. That should be your 3rd line. 2nd line. No, actually, here's left winger Callium Ritchie. They signed him to an entry deal. J.G. Pajot, Kyle Palmieri. Next second line would be Anthony Duclair on right, Andrews Lee on the on left, and then you put who do I put? Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I got confused. They bring back Anthony Beauvillier on a 1-year deal or 2-year deal. And then here's what the lineup would look like. Richie centers the third line, actually, with Anthony Duclair and Kyle Palmieri. Second line, I'm thinking, I forgot about Simon Holmstrom. That's what I forgot about. Kyle Palmieri, J.G. Pajot, Simon Holmstrom at the third line. No, Anthony Duclair. Next line would be Callium Ritchie at center, Simon Holmstrom at left. No, Simon Holmstrom would be at right. Andrews Lee would be at left. And then the first line, Bo Horvat, Matt Barzal, Jordan Eberle. That is the perfect forward group that the Islanders should be looking out for. That is a perfect forward group. Now, on defense, you have Adam Pelech, Ryan Pollock, Alex Romanov, Noah Dobson. Now, I wouldn't change the Mayfield. And then you put Mike Riley and Adam Boquist. And then either make a trade for somebody. I'm not sure who. But you get a defenseman for a backup for Adam Boquist. Because I loved how Adam Boquist has played. Oh, never mind. Tony DeAngelo with Mike Riley. Yes. Adam Boquist and him will rotate. Re-sign Tony DeAngelo. And then you have Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov. Varlamov might never play in hockey again. If he doesn't, then I think you absolutely go out and get like Lindgren, Chris Drieger. I don't care. Maybe a Russian goalie to pair with Sorokin. I would love to have Shesterkin on our team with Sorokin. That would be fun. But and then what else? Your backups will. No, I'm not gonna say backups. But that team looks completely fixed to me. That team is completely fixed. And you fire Lou Morello and hire me as GM. Please do. Please fire Lou Lamoriello. Please. For the love of God. Hate him. Hate him more than anybody on this face of the earth. Oh, no, besides Ranger fans. But I hope this team can at least accelerate in and have a playoff round next year. That would be fun for me. And not have to sit through, here we go again. We're going to blow another lead. I want a team that can compete in a Stanley Cup playoff berth. That's what I want. All I want is for the Islanders to be a competitive team and to make the playoffs. That's all I want. And you can disagree with me. They could rebuild. I'm totally agree with that. But the team I just put together is the most perfect team you would ever see. If they could sign Brock Besser and then put Richie develop in Bridgeport, and or have him as a backup and then learn from these guys. I'm totally fine with that. But you need to get Richie up at least sign him to an entry deal by at least from the OHL by at least 2 years from now. And then you get Cole Eiserman coming up probably next year too. You're one of the best underrated prospects. By the way, I'm really excited to see Cole Eiserman. I'm very excited to see him. He's actually a really good prospect, and he can bring a lot of energy to the team. And he's a sniper too. People are saying like next Alex Ovechkin. I'm not gonna say it like that, but he can. He's the best wrist. He's like a Brock Nelson wrist shot. He can rip it, rip it, rip it. I didn't rip my pants. Sorry. That should be about it. But the team that I just put together, you got guys, this team can make a run. Team's the most underrated team I think I've ever built. With the salary that they can have, this team could beat the team that I just put together. But for this episode of Domspod, obviously, I want to thank everybody for tuning into this one, and those of you watching it. This is a short episode. I didn't really like. I would love to have somebody on it today, but couldn't really do it. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode of Domspod. Like always, these videos are now on YouTube, guys. Now we're uploading them tonight, so go tune in on Friday. Go tune. I hope you guys watching this Friday. Probably I'm gonna be in the Bahamas, and next week's episode will be Wednesday. I got a friend for that already, so you guys won't have to just listen to my dumbass. But hopefully you guys enjoy this episode of Domspod. Like always, my friends, see you next time on this episode of Domspod.